from my experience, but at least here in Brazil, we at that time, I think it's similar to what Tony said. Uh, at that time when I started, uh, most of the time, the younger job, the developer jobs are treated like for youngers, right? So, when you're young, you go to development, and then and when you get older, you go to leadership positions, right? So that was mostly the idea. I think it was not exactly our industry idea, but it's the overall industry idea. We see and when we see people get older, you get to the leadership position or management position. So every time when you start a career, you focus. Oh, I want to get to the management because there is the right continue path of your career, right? At that time, it was normal. I remember when they started talking about the Y career. Remember when they start talking about that, because we are starting to see that technology is not something that you start and then you finish. Technology is something that continues, and having lots of experience with different technology or with the same technology that company works is something that takes time, right? And then they started to see. I think that the industry in general, they started to see that they needed people who had lots of experience with that technology or with the technology in overall, because they need to see to have people that uh, can see the path of technology and see and discuss how the company would work with that technology. Like choosing technology shifts. You know, can you imagine that at that time when I started, there was no cloud at all. Cloud was something that didn't exist. And then when we started to talk about cloud, then people, oh man, are we going to do this kind of shift? And who was the people who they started asking if our company we is going to this path? Oh, they need people who had a lot more experience, right? So what I see is that it starts to grow this branch that you can still a technical and not go into management, pure management positions, right? But of course, the leadership would be there because you're going to be leading uh, the technology part of the team. So I think it started. In my case, for example, I go, I went to different roles at that moment. I stayed like 10 years as developer and architect and something, and then uh, almost 10 years, and then I started to get some management position, project management, and system managers, and I started to get these kind of positions, and but I didn't like all these pure management positions, and then I tried to go back to technology at Ericsson, and I work at Ericsson is a big company, it's 100 years company. So when I saw the people there, I saw, for example, that here in Brazil, the in the offices, the people were younger. But when I went to German officer or to Sweden officer, you see lots of older people, and then I start getting trying to understand the difference. Oh, Yogo is back. Right? You start to getting to see the difference, how they see people when the people get older. There, I went to the Sweden also, and then I see people who had 30 years of experience with uh, telecom, something in telecom, because that was the point. And they had lots of research. They led lots of innovation. And when you look at the innovators, the big innovators there, they were not younger people. They were older people. They are older people. Why? Because to get in to innovate in that field, at least I think in all fields, but in that field, to innovate there, you had to have lots of knowledge about the thing, right? And that was interesting to see. And then I started to think, oh my, I'm not I'm not old, right? I had 30 something at that time, and they say, oh, I'm not that old. Actually, I'm pretty young compared to these people. So yeah, I think it depends how the company sees his knowledge bases. You know, a 100 years company can see his knowledge base as a big range of years, and maybe any startup don't see this thing. So a startup has just a small amount of years, has a small amount of knowledge bases, and well, you can get like a younger people to start in it, right? Because it's a small amount of knowledge bases. You know, that it's my view on that. So I can see bigger companies with more older people than startup ones. When I started in startup environment, I started in a higher position. I was chief of technology. I was the one who was contracting people, hiring people, leading the technology, leading the people. Why? Because I was the most experienced guy there. So I had to be in a leadership position in technology and management people and sales, right? And then I changed it again. Now I'm developer again. And in 1 year, I can see again that your experience makes the leadership. The younger people see you as a
reference.
A reference, you know. So this is something that I think when we find our positions inside the company, use that experience. In my case, or 20 years experience, and using that experience in my advantage, not because I know more about that specific technology than the others, but because I know how to handle different situations. This is that's what's making difference for me in every place I am. Today I'm in a younger company. When I was in a older company, that's what I learned from them. So, well, as Ismail said, I think there is that's what I said in the beginning. We have a mixture of opportunities for people, but I still think, as we have lots of startups, we have more opportunities for younger people than for the older people, and we need to find where our advantage is to be well placed in the market.